as well as good communication is, that they will actually listen to. An example would be, I remember when I was in the regiment and I kind of made a bit of a bit of a mistake. It was a social thing, so I'd been out and got drunk. I was on standby. I was on like 30-minute standby. You got your pager on your belt and stuff. And I was going through a little bit of a volatile stage, being young, having a massive ego, and you know, going downtown and thinking I was invincible. And I remember this one time where I went out and got drunk and came back, fell asleep in the taxi, got back to the base, couldn't wait, the taxi driver couldn't wake me up. I was blind drunk. A friend of mine was driving in the gate at the time. He lived next door to me in the same accommodation block, and he says, I'll take him to his bed. He says he's fine. So he paid my taxi. I had no money. I'd lost my money, lost my wallet. It's terrible. I mean, I was probably about 24 at the time, so it was only a young guy. But anyway, regardless, besides the point, I got really drunk and I had to be taken to my bed. And the police at the front gate, they're the guys who used to work the front gate for us, do the security. And I thought, yeah, they're not going to say anything. Next morning, they're phoning up my sergeant major. One of your guys came in last night. We know you're on standby. He was fucking drunk. He shouldn't be drunk because he's on standby. So they let him deal with it. It get kept in house. Nothing more would be said. So I had to deal with my sergeant major. So my sergeant major at the time was a lovely guy, really, really good guy. I got on really well with him, and we're very good friends to this day. And we laugh about it now, but I always remember I wanted to impress him. I liked him and he liked me, and I really wanted to be a good soldier for him. I wanted to be a good part of the squadron. I wanted to be a good a good team member. So I was kind of ashamed of myself the next day, and I was trying to hide the fact that it had happened. I didn't know that he knew. And at the end of the day, he says, "Come and see me in my office," and I knew he found out. And when I went into his office, I always remember that contrast of, if this would have been back in my battalion, it would have been it would have been a screaming match. You'd have been you'd have been thrown in jail. You'd have been charged straight away. But he didn't do that. He just sat me down and he said, he gave me a lot of compliments. He said, "You've done really well since you've been here, last couple of years. You're a good lad, good operator." He says, "But this social thing," he says, "you like your social time, don't you?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "I know it's a problem." He says, "Well," he goes, "I just say this." He said, I'm just really disappointed." And he kept a real solemn tone to his voice. And that cut through me like a knife. I felt really, really bad. And I was really disappointed with myself. And that cut through me like a razor blade. And I never forgot that. And the effect that had on me at that point was pivotal as well. Because after that, I was like, I need to fucking stop this. This is not a good habit. So I kind of behaved myself after that. And but I still, as far as like leadership goes, I always have that as a good memory and a good example of someone who really was good at leading men in the right way and could communicate. And his message really landed with me, and I thought, you know what, there's a lot to learn from that. And it was a great lesson.